Hey James, this is the start of the second video. If you don't hear this, it's not the start of the second video. Audio syncing in 3, 2, 1. Audio syncing in 3, 2, 1. Audio syncing in 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Oh, that was nice.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rolling with Reddit. I'm joined once again by, of course, Emma, who you're all very familiar with, and of course, Cal, new face on the channel. You'll see a lot more of them going forward.
You guys know my face.
Yeah, you're tired of our faces, so we wanted to throw some new eye candy at you. I have a post here from the RPG Horror Story subreddit. It's by Late Objective 357, which that sounds like a good summary of my entire life.
Oh my gosh.
The post, so the title of the post, Problem Player Causes the Slow Death of Our Campaign.
Oh no.
That's so bad and sad
that's
and
ominous.
That's rough.
and other bad things that rhyme with MAD. I'm on some nutty shit, okay? I'm sorry, guys. The post reads, "This happened a few years ago, and every time the memories of this campaign pop into my mind, I nearly break into hives. So why not write it down so everyone can enjoy?"
Definitely thought that was gonna be tears. I was not expecting hives.
Yeah, definitely hives. And I love the caveat, or the addition of, so why not write it down for everyone to enjoy? Very
Thank
true.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Also, if you're watching this, thank you.
We love hearing your trauma.
Yes.
But sorry about the hives. That really sucks.
It's not fun.
Yeah. First, let's introduce our cast of players. Obviously, names and specifics have been changed. DM Problem Player will be referred to as PP from here on out.
Okay.
And then there is myself, John, Kayla, and Mark. So the typical, in my opinion, like the standard D&D party, DM 4 players. That's pretty normal in my opinion. I met this group at my local game shop one day and joined their game, which hadn't started yet. DM, John, so the DM is not the problem player. I read that as the DM.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah. So the DM, the problem player, PP, so there's 5 players, all knew each other outside of this game, but PP was not initially part of the group. Kayla, you guys have to stick with me. Stick with me.
Snickering through this whole video.
James said PP. Kayla and Mark were a married couple that joined at the same time that I did. We all had a session 0, sans PP, and things were going great. Everyone seemed to
Things
be...
usually go great, sans PP. Anyways.
Everyone seemed to be vibing really well, and we all seemed to be on the same page as far as our interests and what our limits were. The DM seemed a little nervous, but eager, and we all had different knowledge levels when it came to the game. But we're happy to help out where we could. Everyone had really interesting character ideas, and I was excited to play with this gang. Later that night, the DM messaged the group, after we'd all left session 0, saying that he wanted to add a player to the game, and he was going to invite his friend. Going back one more time. I messed up somewhere. Player in EAS, I assume he's. EAS. Saying they wanted to add another player and was
Yeah, was.
Yeah,
I was
W was
like,
right there next to the E.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Here we go. Later that night, the DM messaged the group after we'd all left session 0, saying they wanted to add another player and was going to invite their friend. We weren't really given the opportunity to say no, or were asked if we were cool with it, with adding a 5th or not. PP didn't chat a whole lot. Good. So it was hard to get any sort of vibe from them, but I wish we knew what we were getting into. The problem started before we even met for the first session. DM wanted our characters to have some history with each other, and had us pair up. I got stuck with PP, and they didn't help at all.
No.
Oh, the group project stuff.
They didn't want to contribute or provide any information for our characters, so I came up with an entire pre-campaign history for the DM. Which all proved worthless because come first session, PP had changed their entire history from how they got to the starting town, leaving me to scramble to come up with a new history. That's rough on the spot.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's rude.
Somebody has to get a hold of this PP. Someone's really got to rein this thing in.
Manhandle this thing.
Just wrangle it.
Slap it around. Oh, sorry. The first session should have been the last, but sadly it wasn't. When PP showed up, they threw their stuff down onto the table, didn't introduce themselves, and really only spoke directly to John. Let me get back to where I was. That first session should have been the last, but sadly it wasn't. When PP showed up, they threw their stuff down onto the table, didn't introduce themselves, and really only spoke directly to John. They literally left the table in the middle of the DM talking to go look at shop merch, and spoke over DM multiple times. Yikes. I can't recall every single individual instance, but I'm sure time has altered my memories, but here's the highlights of PP's adherent behavior. They would misgender both players and characters despite being corrected every time.
Ooh.
They would watch YouTube/TikToks during gameplay.
Yikes.
They would only ever pay attention when they were having an RP moment with DM. The absolute worst, though, was how often they spoke over DM, and was the most intense rules lawyer I've ever met. They would critique everyone's actions, saying enough time hadn't passed for the spell to be cast, certain weapon attacks would be a disadvantage, and making comments about certain class features as if players didn't understand how they worked. Now, none of us ever asked for clarification on any of these things that PP spoke up about. They simply took it upon themselves to give this unrequested information, even making calls that should have been up to the DM. That's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah,
That's...
It's not even metagaming, like at that point, it's just a player. Just, it's very cringe.
Yeah.
It
is very cringe.
And I'm wondering at this point in the story, how many times people have voiced the frustration with this? Because if they're a newer player, some of these mistakes make sense. But if it's a continuous, like, I've asked you to not do this and you're still doing it situation, that could be really horrible.
Yeah.
And also begs the question of, like, why has the DM not done anything about it?
Especially since the player is constantly talking over the DM.
Yeah.
Like, that would be immediate grounds for...
Yeah, this DM has a lot of grace, I will say that.
Yeah, they do. A lot of patience.
Yeah. Couldn't be me.
Almost as frustrating was how passive DM was through all of this. Yep, here we go. So right into our points. They never called out or corrected PP. I should have just kept reading. They never called out or corrected PP's behavior, and issues and everything came to a head one night where none of us could make out what was being said, as DM and PP were both speaking at the same time. That's another level of frustrations. John reached out to Kayla, Mark, and myself to see if we were having the same issues and irritants add himself. And irritants add himself. As himself. The D is right next to the S.
Good job. Context clues.
Thank you. John reached out to Kayla, Mark, and myself to see if we were having the same issues and irritants as himself. We had all confirmed and shared our own frustrations and issues with PP and decided to reach out to the DM and to loop them. Can you guys...
Sorry.
PP and decided to reach out to DM to loop them in, since it turns out none of us were having fun. DM claimed that they hadn't really noticed anything odd, but would address the issues with PP. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How?
I really don't think you could be that oblivious.
According to DM, PP didn't take any of our complaints seriously and felt we were exaggerating and blowing things out of proportion, but agreed to tone down the rules lawyering and be more engaged with the other players. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Whether or not you acknowledge the previous behaviors, I think hearing them makes you more aware of them.
Yeah.
And will potentially improve things. But of course, this isn't the end of the story, so we'll see how this goes. And we kind of know how it ends.
Yep.
Another complaint we brought up to the DM themselves was they had done most of the RPing during the handful of sessions we got through, giving very little chances for our characters to interact with each other. The NPCs did more during action-packed moments and did most of the The NPCs did more during action-packed moments and did most to move the story along before we got the chance to. Looking back, it felt like they might have been better suited for a single TTRPG or something. Or co-writing a book, maybe. Which that's my note.
A game with just the DM and PP.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah.
It seems like that's what
they're
he
already
wants.
doing it. Yeah, they do mention better suited for a single TTRPG.
Yeah.
The post does go on to say, because we're right here at the end, anywho, the next time we met after PP got their talkings to, things were both better and worse. Better because there was no one over talking others, and also awkward since PP only spoke when it was their turn in combat. They made it no secret that they weren't there to make friends and only wanted to play the game. But good gracious, they even left the second we were done, going as far as packing their things before the session had even wrapped up or come to an end. Not long after, Kayla and Mark said their schedules had changed and dropped from the group. I also decided to bow out at the same time. It was a short-lived nightmare, but one I can't seem to forget.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's... Wait, so had the writer played D&D before this? Or was this their, like, first or one of their earlier experiences?
Let me see if I can find
I
something.
don't know if it said. It said they met them in a game shop.
Yeah, because especially if that was like one of your first experiences playing D&D,
Yeah.
that would be really rough because then you're like, is every group?
Oh, you mean like do the other players have past experience?
Yeah, well,
The
other
person
players or the
writing.
person writing, if the person writing had past experience playing.
I'm not sure. I do know that the only thing that we do know about the dynamic is, of course, the married couple and the DM was previous friends with PP. So they don't speak to anybody's RP experience or TTRPG experiences in the past.
It almost makes me wonder if, like, PP wanted to play a game, and so he, like, rounded up all these other people specifically, like, for them to, like, make a game.
Yeah.
Oh, like the DM,
Like DM,
got
PP
everybody.
wanted to play a game.
You know?
So
So the DM, like, crafted one and found all these other people to play.
And then brought PP in.
And then PP was like, actually, I didn't want to, like, play with strangers, you know?
Yeah, perhaps. We do have some top comments here, and one that is third down, which I normally don't read third down comments, but I'm actually going to start with it. It's by Lucavia at work, and it says, that player's behavior was most definitely not big PP energy.
Small PP,
Yeah.
am I right?
PP energy.
microscopic.
The top comment is, and all these top comments are pretty short. This one by Lord of the Lost Tribe. Sometimes it's hard for a DM to see a problem player, especially if they're friends. I think that's very
Agreed.
true.
That's very true.
Yes.
And maybe they learned something after their game fell apart. Maybe they didn't. Who's to say? And then the other top comment that we have here is by Bamf1701. A good lesson of why DMs ought to run it by their players before they add someone new to the group.
That is very true, especially when you've already solidified a group and then you just have a new person thrown in. It's kind of just...
Yeah.
We
And
don't...
those poor people did not get a warning.
No, they
What was to
were... The fact that this gives
The
this
PP that was
person-
coming.
They did. The PP came in.
God, no. Oh.
I didn't mean to.
Yep, PP
happened.
certainly did.
It happened. Oops.
Oh, I can see the title of this
Sometimes
episode.
it
now.
happens. Sooner
Sometimes it
than you
happens.
think.
Guys.
It describes the whole issue with the player perfectly. I mean, he very adequately named him PP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I-
Good job, late objective. you
yeah,
know?
really great job
Badly
there.
acting PPs just really ruin a situation.
Thank you also for naming them PP, because it's made reading this very bearable on our behalf. But I will say, I think that's all the time that we have for this particular episode. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And once again, shameless plug, go check out Misty Mountain Gaming. Use promo code RPGFamiliar. Get some dice, a DM screen, accessories, whatever you may need. It directly supports the channel, and we directly appreciate it. In the meantime, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the very next episode of Rolling with Reddit. Bye-bye for now, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.